No one noticed when Santa Claus arrived at the residential complex. That was the first mistake. He was just another holiday figure. A man in a red suit with a sack over his shoulder. But something was off. This Santa didn't wave or laugh his jolly laugh. His eyes never blinked, fixed in a cold, unmoving stare. Children, drawn by a strange curiosity, gathered around him. He handed out gifts, small boxers wrapped in plain brown paper, with no names written on them. A silent, unsettling exchange. That night, the festive silence was shattered. Screams echoed through the building's hallways, one after another. Panicked parents rushed into their children's rooms to find the brown boxers open on the floor. The contents were grotesque. Inside, some were tangled strands of human hair and clipped fingernails. Others contained teeth, yellowed and chipped. The air grew thick with fear. Police were called immediately, their sirens a distant wail. But before they could arrive, another scream, this one louder and more guttural, erupted from the courtyard below. Officers found a man's body sprawled near the playground swings. His throat wasn't cut, it was torn open, ripped as if by a wild animal. His face was covered by a Karakoncolos mask, a terrifying visage from Balkan folklore. The Santa costume he had supposedly been wearing was nowhere in sight. A forensics team, hardened by years of grim scenes, began their examination. When they turned the mask over, they froze. The inside wasn't padded with foam or cloth. It was crudely stitched with strips of human skin. An immediate review of the building's security footage began, but it only deepened the mystery. Every camera that captured the Santa figure glitched, the video distorting into a mess of static and color bars the moment he passed. Only the audio survived. From the garbled static, a distorted, whispering voice could be heard, asking a single, chilling question. Are you a bad child? Investigators learned that each child who had received a box had been asked the same question. The next morning, the ones who answered yes were found dead. Witnesses who overheard the encounters reported hearing strange, animalistic sounds immediately after the question was asked. Low growls, like a cornered beast, mixed with the sound of labored human breathing. The combination was unnatural, something that belonged in a nightmare, not a residential complex. A full-scale search of the building was launched. In a dusty, forgotten storage room in the basement, officers found the Santa suit. It was carelessly tossed in a corner, but as an officer picked it up, the suit was warm, as if it had just been worn. A closer look revealed the true horror. The fabric wasn't fabric at all. It was a patchwork, meticulously stitched together from layers of human skin, some pale, some freckled, some scarred. The texture was unmistakable. It was a costume made of people. Meanwhile, at the station, one child, a young boy who had survived the ordeal, refused to speak for hours. He sat wrapped in a blanket, his eyes wide with a terror that no child should ever know. Finally, he looked up at the detective, his voice barely a whisper, and said something that silenced the entire room. That wasn't Santa. He swallowed hard, his small hands trembling. That was my father. The statement sent a shockwave through the investigation. Police pulled the family's records. They showed the boy's father had died 2 years earlier in a violent, unresolved accident. The child began to shake uncontrollably. He still comes back, he whimpered. He still asks me if I'm a bad child. Investigators scrambled to find old photos, home videos, anything they could of the father. They pulled up an old security tape from the building's archive, showing the man walking through the lobby years ago. The resemblance to the Santa figure was perfect, from his height to his gait, except for one horrifying detail. The father on the old tape had eyes. The Santa figure had none, just dark, empty silence. As they watched, the system flagged a new piece of footage from the night of the murders, previously unseen. On the screen, the eyeless Santa figure stood motionless in a dark hallway, staring directly into the camera lens, as if it knew it was being watched. Then, its voice, clearer this time, echoed from the speakers. Karakoncolos punishes the bad. The footage cut to black. When officers raced to that hallway, the body they'd found in the courtyard was gone. The case was officially sealed. No suspect was ever identified, and the events were buried in a file labeled unexplained. But for the residents of that complex, the story never ended. Every January, on the coldest nights, Some children still hear a slow knocking at their bedroom doors. 3 distinct taps. Parents report finding gifts outside their apartments in the morning. Small boxers wrapped in plain brown paper. No one dares to open them. And somewhere deep in the police department's digital security archive, a new recording keeps appearing, uploaded by an unknown source. It's always the same. A familiar, distorted voice whispering a single question. Are you a bad child? The full story of what happened that night, and the entity that still haunts that complex, continues on. Subscribe to our channel before he asks you again.